something, no running. You got me thinking about the state I'm in. Going back to that place we...
When Ferrari released the 458 Speciale, it was an instant legend. With gorgeous looks, a screaming naturally aspirated V8, and razor-sharp handling, it resulted in a formula that some say provided the best driving experience of any Ferrari, bar none. Replacing an icon is no easy feat, but Ferrari has given its all, and the result is this: the 488 Pista. The engine in the 458 Speciale will go down in history as one of the all-time greats. With its incredible responsiveness and screaming beautiful soundtrack, it truly is a brilliant motor. Now, we know the Pista is obviously faster, but does the forced induction take away from the sound and a bit of the drama? Well, today, we're gonna find out exactly that. Under the rear deck lid of this beast is a 3.9-liter twin turbocharged V8 making 711 horsepower and 568 pound-feet of torque. All of that power is sent through a 7-speed F1 dual-clutch transmission, all to the rear wheels. Now, despite being rear-wheel drive, it can still rip from 0 to 60 miles an hour in just 2.7 seconds. 711 horsepower is an enormous difference from the Speciale's 597. And they really did need to keep up with cars like the 720S. 50% of the engine components are different from the 488. It also has 50 more horsepower, and the engine itself weighs 50 pounds less. Let's talk about nomenclature for a second. The 458 makes sense. It's a 4.5-liter V8, hence the name. This does not have a 4.8-liter V8. So what does it mean? Well, it's actually the total cubic capacity of all 8 cylinders comes out to 488. Now, what does it sound like given its forced induction? You tell me. The second they released the Pista, I fell in love with the design. It was a radical improvement from the base 488 and features some aerodynamic elements that create a dramatic look unlike any other. One of the most notable elements, of course, is the F1-inspired S-duct that actually allows air to travel through the front bumper and up and over the hood, increasing frontal downforce. Now, the front splitter as well as the rear diffuser have also been given the same ramp angle as the 488 GTE race car. There's a lot of stuff that comes from the track. Oh, by the way, the name Pista means track in Italian. The rear of the Pista has some tricksy aerodynamic elements as well. Cool air is able to flow into the rear intakes, over the intercoolers, through the wheel wells, and out these vents out the rear of the car to reduce drag and also to optimize cooling efficiency. Pretty cool, and you can see the rear tires through these vents, which is awesome. Now, Ferrari refers to this as a blown spoiler, but they also call it the dolphin tail, because if you look at it from above, it's actually shaped like a dolphin tail. Not only can air pass over the spoiler, but it can also go under and out from right here. The rear diffuser, massive piece of carbon fiber. It's got an F1-inspired rain light for the backup light, and it even has electronic deployable flaps on the bottom to stall the downforce when you need less drag. The Pista weighs in at 200 pounds lighter than the 488, which radically improves agility. But one of the coolest parts is, for the first time ever, Ferrari offered optional carbon fiber wheels, which really improves handling because that is unsprung mass. So reducing that weight, apparently by 40% over the standard wheels, makes a huge difference. All right, let's hop inside the Pista, shall we? The interior of the Pista is extremely purpose-built, and it shows. Everything is carbon fiber or Alcantara. Or in the case of this tailor-made one-of-one Pista, it's actually real suede. Yeah, these seats aren't Alcantara, which is a synthetic suede. This is actually real suede on the roof and the seats, and beautiful leather, which isn't typically here. Now, if you're used to a 458 or even a 488, the interior is pretty much the same. I mean, we don't have a glove box. The door cards are carbon fiber, which looks really cool. And your choices for floor mats are carbon fiber floor mats or no floor mats. Interestingly enough, on the driver's side door, you've got this little Alcantara, or in this case, suede strap to pull the door closed, and this is how you unlock it. On the other side, for the passenger, It has an actual handle, which is very interesting. Now, there are 9 different interior colors to choose from, with 5 different stripe options as well. And there are also 5 different options for the color of the tachometer. The amount of customizability that you have with the Pista is pretty incredible, and that's before you go to TaylorMade and you do these one-off silver stripes and purple horses in the steering wheel and purple contrasted stitch. Now, if you go down here, this little center tunnel made of carbon fiber, similar to the 458 Speciale, probably the exact same thing, has buttons for reverse, auto, as well as launch control. It's called Power Start in this case. But the owner of this car has optioned it with little purple surrounds, which looks fantastic. The steering wheel is one of the best in the businesses. It is basically the same as that on the 458 Speciale, and I'm glad because it is honestly my favorite steering wheel in the world. You've got the stop-start button on the steering wheel, bumpy road mode, the Manettino dial, which allows you to switch from wet mode to death mode. Really, it's wet, sport, race, CT off, and ESC off. And then you have a shift indicator light up on the steering wheel itself. All right, it's time to take the Pista out for a drive. Behind the wheel of the Pista now, and it is love at first drive. This car is incredible. So as compared to the 488, the springs have been stiffened by 8%, and you can feel it. Not only does that limit body roll, it also increases driver enjoyment. This car rides like a race car. It just so happens to be street legal. They've also done some modifications to the exhaust with a new exhaust manifold, producing more noise in the cabin than ever before. Listen to this. Oh my God, and it is ballistically fast. So yes, no longer is the car naturally aspirated. No, it doesn't rev to 9,000 RPM like the Speciale Aperta does. Oh my God, but that car does not pull like this absolute monster does. The impressive part is it's rear-wheel drive. It's riding on these Cup 2 tires, bespokely made for this Ferrari. So they did some little changes to the sidewall to make it better in the dry and better in the wet. But the level of grip you get and confidence in a 711 horsepower rear-wheel drive car doesn't even make sense. I thought it was going to be squirrely and kind of all over the place. I mean, I realize it's a Ferrari and it's going to be incredible, but man, I did not expect it to be this easy to drive at the limit. Now, part of that is due to the fact that it has side slip control 6. So basically it's this computerized system that allows you, when you're past the limit, to slide controllably and not wreck your $500,000 plus Pista. Now, if you go into CT off mode, I'm in race mode right now on the Manettino dial. If you go to CT off, that activates a new system called Ferrari Dynamic Enhancer, or FDE. Essentially what that does is, instead of a conventional traction control system where you can feel the power cut and it's kind of aggressive when you're going around corners or lose traction in a straight line, this actually modulates the brakes on each wheel individually to make the loss of traction feel smoother and more natural and not upset the balance of the car. And it is such a nice system. Now, if we put the car into sport mode, or let's even go to wet mode, that is the most docile, and put it into bumpy road mode, which is a button located on the wheel, it actually rides pretty decent. You could drive this car, you know, every day if you wanted to. Obviously, the practicality is not there, but it doesn't jar you in an insanely aggressive manner. And part of that is due to the magneto-eological dampers, which is one of the hardest words to say, but also one of the coolest things in terms of suspension components. It's able to act at thousands of times per second and allow you to go over bumps without breaking your spine. Because when this thing is not in bumpy road mode and you're in race mode, oh my gosh, does it ride hard. But honestly, that's exactly what I was hoping for. I wanted this to be an extremely raw, brutal experience. And that is what you get with the Pista. This is the 4th generation of specialty limited edition V8 mid-engine sports cars from Ferrari. It started with the 360 Challenge Stradale, then we moved on to the 430 Scuderia, then the 458 Speciale, and now the 488 Pista. And I'm pleased to report it is absolutely incredible. No, it doesn't sound as good as a 458 Speciale, just plain and simple. But it is really loud, and that bassy tone, as opposed to that high-end screaming V8 tone, is honestly something that I enjoy more than I would have anticipated. It does have an intoxicating exhaust note. It's just not quite at that screaming high-pitch 9,000 RPM like the Speciale. But in a world with 720Ss and 765 LTs, they needed to up the power. I mean, the truth is, these cars are getting to be ridiculously fast, and like the Tesla Model S Plaid, you can now buy a family sedan that can blow the doors off a Bugatti Chiron. So it is more about the driving experience than it is sheer speed, but I also understand that in order to stay current and keep up with the times so that you're not like a Lamborghini Huracan STO with 630 horsepower and every other competitor has well over 700 or 800, it needed to go forced induction. But there is literally no turbo lag, and it still sounds absolutely amazing. So, who really cares, honestly? Woo! Little sideways there, but it kept me in check. Otherwise, this thing would be an absolute death trap. Woo! And the steering is so pinnacle Ferrari. The feel and communication really is incredible. I mean, there really isn't a better steering feel than Ferrari. Porsche has its own thing, which is a little bit more communicative, and I love that in certain situations, but there's something about the feel of this steering that just feels right. It's lame and a little bit cheesy when they say you don't drive your Ferrari, you dance with your Ferrari, but it truly feels like that with the way the steering is set up. Oh my God, I'm in love with this car. I truly am in love with it. All right, we got some open road ahead. Let's see what this thing's really got. Oh my God. Oh my God, it's fast. The levels of mechanical grip are actually mind-bending. Holy crap. Whew. And the brakes, they've got this really firm pedal feel. Basically is designed off of the 488 GT3 race car, and it feels like race car brakes in a road car. Oh, it shouldn't be able to do that, but it does. Oh my God, it's actually scary. Oh, this car is an absolute weapon. I'm sweating right now. Oh my God. I knew I was gonna like the Pista. I didn't know I was gonna fall absolutely in love with it. I mean, oh man, would I take this over a GT2 RS all day long? The suspension's a little more compliant than the 2RS on the road, so it's not as jarring. I mean, you're not gonna just be driving your 2RS on perfect racetracks 100% of the time. You are gonna take it on the road, and it kind of unsettles the balance of the car because it's so firm. This in the canyons, despite it being very much imperfect out here, oh, it absolutely flies. And the level of grip and its composure and just everything. I love it! Ferrari, you've killed it again. Woo! So, look, is it better than a 458 Speciale? In some ways it is. It's way faster. You can corner way quicker. The electronic stability control is better. You know, when you think about the looks, that's a coin flip. This looks absolutely savage and intense. The Speciale Aperta is more beautiful. Sound-wise, obviously, the Speciale is better than this. It's a naturally aspirated V8, but man, the Speciale was a legendary car, but this is a legend in its own right, and I am absolutely obsessed. So to end this video, obviously, we're gonna have to do launch control. We'll go ahead and put it in first gear. We've got a button PS right here. Floor the brake, floor the gas, 0 to 60 in 2.7 seconds. Let's see how it goes. Wow! Oh! The traction is so impressive for a 700 horsepower rear-wheel drive car. How did that just... I don't get it. I mean, a GT2 RS or a 600 LT cannot launch like that. That's ridiculous. Whoa! Hold on. Whoa! Oh my God, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Like always, please browse the channel and subscribe. I am so in love with this car. Special thanks to the owner, Modern Enzo. Make sure to give him a follow, seriously, for letting me drive this car and review it, because this is truly an absolute work of art. Some last minute things: the seats are incredibly comfortable and supportive. They are pretty hard, so I imagine, after driving this for a couple of hours, it's not going to feel the best on your lower back. But what sports car of this ilk is? Honestly, there is no such thing as a comfortable track-focused sports car. Honestly, turning radius, flipping a U-turn here, impressively good. Storage space, there ain't much. You don't have a glove box anymore. You've got little cubby holsters on the side and in the rear behind the seats. You've got one cup holder, interestingly enough, inside of the Pista, which is cool. The steering wheel with the shift indicator light is so intoxicating. Oh my God, the power is endless. And to think this isn't modified, if you tune this with downpipes, holy moly. Well guys, I look forward to seeing you next video.